This is The Weekly Set, the official podcast of TheTotalScreen.com. Episode 166, recorded July 29th, 2018. Hello everybody, and welcome to The Weekly Set, the official podcast of TheTotalScreen.com. I am your host, my name is Tyson, and joining me today, as always, is my partner in crime here at The Total Screen, William Rohrig.
Hello.
So, today we are going to be talking about Comic-Con. We know Comic-Con ended a week ago, but just based on when we record the podcast, we didn't have all of the news yet. We wanted to wait until we had all the news, so that's why we did something different last week. And this week, we're going to be talking about our top 10 stories in no particular order from Comic-Con. So let's get started with DC Universe. So DC Universe, they revealed the details. So before we even discuss it, let's just read off some of these details here. Annual subscription, $74.99. Monthly subscription, $7.99 a month. Pre-orders for annual subscriptions are available now. They were available when Comic-Con began, basically. And if you pre-order for your subscription, you get 3 months for free for your subscription.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's
Is that for the annual subscription, or is that like any subscription?
I have no idea. I have not subscribed.
If I had to guess, I would say that's the annual, because I don't think they're going to do like something where you subscribe for 1 month, they're just going to throw in 3 free months. That seems overly generous. But
there are a lot of places that will offer you like a free month before you even sign up for anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So like
but this is like 3 months, so this is...
Yeah, but I mean, they could do it just on pre-order, you know, like you're signing up for a pre-order and they'll give you 3 free months just to kind of decide that it's worth it. So, I mean, I've seen that kind of stuff. I mean, we got 1 month on the YouTube one, but I've seen 3-month promotions. So it's not too unheard of. The service is going to launch in fall. That's a bit vague considering how close we are to fall.
Yeah, it's like fall. It's fall. No. Yeah.
And the service is going to launch with Titans as its first original series.
So Titans, Doom Patrol.
Those aren't going to be at launch.
Oh, okay. I'm just looking at the website, and that's what they have under original series. So I don't know.
Stargirl was just announced at Comic-Con. Doom Patrol, there's Swamp Thing, which is not going to be in the same universe as the other series. And then there's that Young Justice Outsider series.
And Harley Quinn, which I'm guessing that's going to be animated.
I haven't heard anything about Harley Quinn in a while, so I think that's a ways off.
Okay, it's on their website, so again, it's listed front and center with like everything else.
The service is also going to give you access to the DC movies and TV shows.
You know, this
doesn't include the CW shows.
Okay, well that's just lame. Like, why?
That's just because of they have existing contracts with the CW and with Netflix and stuff that I think get in the way of that. So you could watch them through the service, but you have to like pay an additional fee.
I would say this might be worth it for their back catalog alone, especially if like all those animated movies they come out with, like
all of those
times a year
on there. All of the movies are supposed to be on there within reason. Obviously, they're not going to have like Aquaman isn't going to be day and date at theaters.
No, I'm not subscribing now. Screw that.
But most of that stuff's going to be on there, and it's also you're going to have access to DC's lineup of digital comics. If you're a DC fan, I think this is a no-brainer if you're a big DC fan.
Yeah, if you're a big DC fan, this seems like a good deal. It's only $8 a month. But you can pay upfront for like a year, which is nice. So like, if you don't want to pay it's 20% off paying monthly too. So if you don't want to pay like a monthly to watch this stuff, you can just pay up front.
$75 isn't bad for access to everything, access to the comics, and also an original series here or there. That's not bad. I'm still not sold. I might see if they have some kind of a free trial.
They're also saying like there's premium annual member benefits and rewards if you subscribe annually. So
I know, like, when
there's like some benefit benefits on top of just saving the 20%.
I know that during Comic-Con, they had a promotion where if you pre-registered, you would be entered in for a drawing to win like tickets to the premiere of Aquaman or something. So they're going to do promotions and shit like that through it too.
Oh, and I was right. It says a pre-order an annual membership and get 3 additional months for free.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. That's the most likely way to make sense on that. I'm sure they're going to have something else also where you could just like at the moment of signing up for the service get like 2 free weeks or a free month or something like that.
And apparently there is a beta that you can sign up for. It says, I want to help build the DC universe. Please consider me for the beta.
Are there any price benefits for that or anything like that?
It doesn't say. It's literally just says it's just a form to enter in your email address and you check the box. Because it says, be among the first to know when DC Universe arrives plus much more. And then it has, you put in your email address and there's a box you can tick that says, I want to be a part of the beta. And that's it.
Early access, I guess.
Yep, early access.
Are you sold on this?
You know, I'm warming up to it, I guess, just because of, like, the back catalog stuff. Not necessarily, like, the new stuff, because the back catalog and the comics library are what's really tempting me here.
Yeah.
The new stuff, not so much. I'd have to see more. I can't, obviously, I've only seen, like, one thing from, like, the new lineup that they announced, and it was not good.
Yeah.
So I can't judge the new lineup as a whole because I haven't seen anything else. And maybe Doom Patrol will be amazing. You know, Swamp Thing will blow your mind, or you know.
I think Swamp Thing's the one I have the most faith in.
Right. Well, it's the one. Well, Doom Patrol does have a lot of potential too. Like they could do a lot with that concept.
Yeah, but Swamp Thing's not connected to Titans, which already looks like it's.
Yeah, that's true.
We're gonna go into that later, and Doom Patrol is connected to that, so there's that kind of thing. It's also the people involved in Swamp Thing. I think it's James Wan that's doing it.
I do think Harley Quinn, I think that's definitely going to be animated. I can't see that being live action. 'Cause they're making Batwoman into a TV series on CW, right?
Yeah.
And I would much rather they have Harley Quinn on that show as the villain. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. I know that won't happen either.
Yeah, animated I think would make more sense for Harley Quinn. Man, DC is just like doubling down on tons of content though. It's kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy. The thing is like...
It's basically almost all of the CW already.
Yeah. The thing is, though, it's not cohesive. It's not coherent. You know, it's like all kinds of different stuff. Half of it related, half of it unrelated. They're making like a Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. That's going to be like its own universe. And they're going to make another Joker movie with, you know, Jared Leto set in the Suicide Squad universe. And it's like, yeah, okay, what are we doing here? Like, this is, come on. And
I think Warner Brothers, who owns DC and all of this stuff, just wants to like end the MCU. And so they're just trying to oversaturate with comics.
End the MCU by just like throwing a bunch of shit at the wall. I don't know if that
They're not
works.
trying to compete with the MCU. They're just trying to destroy the MCU. Yeah. They're like, damn it, we lost. We need to save face. The whole comic book thing needs to end. Let's just throw tons of stuff at the wall.
They announced at Comic-Con that they have an official name for the films now. It's not the DC Cinematic Universe. It's now Worlds of DC, meaning that they announced Worlds of DC for their film slate, which the name means that they are going to make films, but they're not all going to be connected to each other in a shared universe. Like some films they put out will be their own universe, and that's okay.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the best way to put it. And while we're talking about DC fucking things up, let's jump right into our next topic, which is Titans. They released a trailer for it. Right at the beginning of Comic-Con, they released a trailer for Titans.
You know, when I saw like, you know, when Arrow came out, when they started doing Flash, you know, they started doing all these CW shows, I thought it's great. I thought, man, you know, if they did a Teen Titans show next like this, that would be awesome. Like, I would freaking love a live action TV show, you know, like, considering how well they did with Green Arrow, how well they did The Flash. I thought, man, that's great. Like, and then they announced one, and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome. Like, there's no way this is not gonna be awesome. This is not awesome. this is bad. I was like,
great edgelord. This is Titans edgelord.
Here's the thing, like, yeah, it's like the trailer comes on and you see Robin. Now, this is the first time we've had a live action Robin since Batman and Robin, since Chris O'Donnell back then. Like, and you know, that was a very,
unless you count what's the one, Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, because the one guy's name was
because
Robin.
that doesn't count. Barely counts. Jesus. That's still, yeah, that doesn't count. So, like, this is the first time, like, we actually get Robin, okay, like, in the costume and shit, and not just, like, some clever joke. Right, since Chris O'Donnell, and the first words out of his mouth are, fuck Batman, while he's murdering people, by the way. Fuck Batman while I'm busy murdering people. Like, there's blood, like, all over his face when he says that line.
Yeah.
I'm just, what the fuck? Like, I saw people explain away, like, somebody...
He's defending it by saying it's part of the story. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't look like a good story.
Like, well, maybe it works within the context of the episode. Maybe it works within the context of what they're saying. Maybe it's a nightmare he's having, and that's all a nightmare. And fine. Don't put it in the trailer. Don't make that the first thing people see. How about that? Okay, like. That just seems obvious to me. It's like, even if it makes sense within the context of, like, the story or the episode, and you see the episode and you go, oh, okay. You just made that the first thing people saw. You just made that the very first impression. That's the problem.
Enough about how fucked up Robin is. Let's talk about how fucked up Starfire is.
She just does not look good. I'm gonna like not pass judgment on the performance because who knows? It could be great. It could be a great performance. But appearance wise, she just does not look good.
This isn't on the actress. This is on the producers.
Yeah,
I'm decided to represent Starfire in this way.
Yeah, I'm trying to
I want to say that right off the bat because I know that the actress had to remove her Twitter account because she was getting racist harassment and stuff after.
Which is just wrong. That's just
that's bullshit. That's bullshit. This isn't on her.
No, I don't support.
With just you decide to go with this.
Just because something is bad, or something comes out and you don't like it. It's not what you thought it was supposed to be. That's not a free pass to go harass actors or people involved. That's no.
Yeah. And especially, like I said, that this, even if you wanted to, like, assign blame, this isn't on her. This is on the producer.
Yeah, this is not, exactly. This is on the producers. This is on the people who came up with these ideas. She didn't come up with these ideas for Starfish. She just, signed on to play a role,
Yeah, exactly. She didn't create her own costume and demand that, she has to have her hair done that way. And, like, none of this has anything to do with her decision. So this isn't on her. This is on the producer, which is where a lot of the faults for, like, these DC TV shows right now land, is squarely on the producers. And yeah, it's just not good. Like, and I'm not trying to say that, like, she can't, I don't know. It's hard to address because Starfire is supposed to be, like, very fish out of water, very alien. And instead they made her very part of a subculture of America that's already existing. And that kind of takes away the aspect that there's any kind of fish out of water element to it.
I don't know if there's going to be that, like...
I'm just saying from a fashion sense.
The producers described the character as, like, the brooding, like, Wolverine.
Yeah, which also doesn't fit.
Yeah, like, I admit I only know, like, from the cartoons and stuff, but Starfire is generally, like, very cheerful.
Yeah. I read some of the old comics, like, back in the day, like, in the 90s and stuff, and yeah, that's not Starfire.
She's not Wolverine. Like, that's the stupidest thing I read. It's like, okay,
definitely not. She's, like, the most lighthearted of the group,
What the hell? Like, again, it's like, it's just...
The producers tried to do something new and edgy, and they direct it.
Yeah, they just tried to make it edgy. It's like, why? Like, DC as a whole has this problem with trying to be, like, edgy with all their stuff. Like, that's what they did with Batman versus Superman. You know, that's what they tried to, like, that's what they were doing with Justice League before somebody, like, decided, oh, this needs jokes because Marvel has jokes, and then they put forced awkward humor into it and made it worse. It's just, no, like, not everything has to be edgy. Just because, like, Batman works as sort of like this dark, gritty, like, that's the character, that's the world that they created, that fits naturally. It doesn't apply naturally to every other property you have.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You can't replicate the success of The Dark Knight by just applying that to everything you do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand this need for, like, everything to be, like, so super edgy. I just don't.
So let's talk about the other two characters that show up in this trailer. Beast Boy, we can say
really
right
have
off
much.
the bat.
Beast Boy is he's guy with
second.
he's a guy with green hair, and he jumps off a building or something, and you never once see him transform in the trailer, so who the fuck knows what's going on there. You know, it would have been cool to see him jump off the building and turn into, like, a bird or something to demonstrate his power, you know, for the trailer. But, nope, that probably wasn't even in the budget, so...
Yeah,
so he doesn't transform once.
Yeah, Beast Boy's in the trailer for all of about a second. Not much to say there. I mean, he looks fine, you know, but there's, like, really nothing to judge, really, beyond just general appearance.
He's not green. He's not green either.
Yeah, that's true.
And then there's Raven, which is okay.
Yeah, I mean, if any character is going to be kind of broody, I guess Raven would be the one that would make more sense.
Raven, right? She's the broody one. I don't really have much of an opinion. She was like the main focus of the trailer, oddly enough, but also, again...
I think it's going to be her story. I think that's what the first season story is going to be.
Yeah,
it's going to be about her and her father.
Clearly going to be her story, but, like, you know, I don't have much of an opinion. It's just, yeah, most of what I saw in that trailer was bad. And
yeah. Everything seems to be like at nighttime.
Yeah, everything seems to be at nighttime. It's just, they want people, it's just, they want people to sign up for this service, and this is the first impression of the first new series of the service that they give you. And it's like, no, I don't think I will subscribe that.
Well, one thing for the service is, and it's not one of our points, I'll just bring it up real quickly though, is that they also released a trailer for Young Justice Outsiders, which is also going to be on the service.
That did look good.
Looks good. I mean, it's nothing shocking. It looks like Young Justice.
Well, thankfully.
Yeah.
They didn't completely change it. And there's rumors now that the original Teen Titans cartoon will be coming back, possibly for the service.
That would be good.
Yep, that would be good. So
that's it for DC Universe and Titans. Next topic up, and this is just kind of a little bit of an interesting one, is before Comic-Con we knew it was all but confirmed that Andrew Lincoln was leaving The Walking Dead. He's the main character in The Walking Dead. He plays Rick Grimes, the lead, and it's been going around for like about a month or more.
Wish I could be surprised, but that show's been on forever, and dude probably wants to do something else, so good for him.
So they've been talking about him leaving and about Daryl, the character of Daryl, played by Norman Reedus, taking over as kind of the lead. Yeah,
he's gonna take over as the lead. I mean, nobody else can. Daryl's the most popular character, you know. He was probably more popular than Rick, so...
Interestingly enough, not from the comics. So, he's an original character. But yeah, so it was confirmed at Comic-Con first by the comics creator Robert Kirkman, who confirmed that Andrew Lincoln was leaving, and then later at the actual Walking Dead panel by Andrew Lincoln himself that he was leaving. He said he wanted it to be a surprise, and it just got out, and there was no reason to kind of play coy about it. But yeah, he's leaving. They didn't confirm Norman Reedus taking over as the lead, but it just kind of seems obvious because, you know, that went alongside the rumor that he was leaving that turned out to be true. So it's like, well, yeah, and it makes sense. So it's like, yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. what's interesting here, though, goes beyond just that, and that's that Lauren Cohen, who plays Maggie in the series, had already decided to leave earlier, and then last season, Carl was killed in the series. So,
Carl.
so basically, like, all the kind of, like, major characters from the comic books are pretty much gone. You know, I guess, like, Michonne's still around, and but Carol wasn't as big in the comics as she is in the series. But, like, pretty much, like, all the main characters are gone. I stopped watching the series myself, when I heard Carl died. I was a few episodes behind. I heard he died. And that was, to me, that was the most interesting story thread, was the idea of, like, somebody that this happened in their life when they were young and they had to adapt to this new world, and they growing up as this being their new reality. And I thought that was the more interesting story. And in the comic books, that's kind of like, Carl's like a total badass. He's also much younger in the comics. Like, he's still like a kid, you know? But they focused much more on Carl, like, as the comics go on. And that was like the more interesting thread. That was like where I was like, okay, that's where, like, I wouldn't mind Rick going away. I wouldn't mind, like, other people dying. Carl kind of becoming the new focus of the series is what would be most interesting. So when I heard he died, I just kind of lost interest. It was already kind of waning, and then it was like, I just don't care. So I stopped watching. I know you stopped watching quite a few seasons ago.
Yeah. A long time ago. But with Carl gone, like, yeah, that, I agree. That was, like, the most interesting character thread. So, too bad. Like, I don't know, like, who wrote that? Who came up with that? Like, that's just monumentally stupid.
I imagine the actor probably wanted to leave. He was, like, college age.
Oh, probably. I mean, but to kill off, like, the most interesting character thread in your show is, like, that's just stupid.
Yeah. So that's, you know, unfortunate, you know, for people that are fans of the show, I guess.
I think it's time for the show to end, to be honest.
Yeah, they've been saying for such a long time that this is a show that could go on forever, and it doesn't matter. They can kill off any of the cast members.
Believe anything can or should go on forever.
Yeah. That's the thing, is, like, they talk about it being like any of the characters can die because it's just about the premise of people surviving, and it's like, but it really isn't. Like, you know, every story has to have a forefront on your characters. That has to be the forefront of it. And, you know, when you start killing off, like, your central characters, you start losing it, you know, like, when you don't have, like, any of your original characters left, it's like, okay, like, kind of what's the point now? It's like I don't know. It's just, I don't find it particularly compelling anymore. But that's what's happening with The Walking Dead. We'll have to see what they do if they kind of transform it. And that leads right into our next one, which is The Walking Dead sequel, Fear the Walking Dead, which was always lesser than The Walking Dead. It was always just not quite as good. And they also had killed off a bunch of their main characters in a similar way. I lost interest in that show as well and stopped watching, mainly because of some of the stuff from season 2 that I really didn't like. But now I just saw the new trailer for season 4 of Fear the Walking Dead. And most notably, the actor Garrett Dillahunt seems to be like a central focus now in the series. And fuck The Walking Dead. I just want to watch Garrett Dillahunt versus Zombies, the TV show.
That sounds awesome, actually.
He's badass in this. He's basically everything like Rick should have been at his most badass. Mm-hmm. He's wearing a hat like Rick. He's you know, dual wielding. He's shooting down zombies. He's kind of got like a flippant attitude about him. It's kind of cool. The trailer's interesting too, because it's like there's some comedy in the trailer. There's some aspects of it that kind of remind me of like Z Nation, which is like this sci-fi zombie show that's just like way more into like the preposterous territory. Mm-hmm. You know? And so like if you see a scene in this trailer where like two zombies are like whipped away by like hurricane winds or something, and it's just, you see like another group like in like a truck, and they're running down a zombie and taking like point totals, and I'm like, that's so like Z Nation. Like, where it's almost more like a meta zombie show. It's more like a zombie show about zombie shows more than just a zombie show itself. And seeing those elements coming in, seeing Garrett Dillahunt being a big player, Lenny James is in the series now as, you know, as the same character Morgan from the original series, who he rejoined the group in the original series, but now we see him like between the point point at which he was last seen by the group and when he rejoined the group. In the original series, he's kind of traveling through Fear the Walking Dead, which is kind of interesting, and he's a good character, and it's like, yeah, there's for some reason, I'm kind of tempted to watch Fear the Walking Dead when it comes back, much more so than the original Walking Dead.
Which is funny, actually,
Yeah. And I have to give it, hands up, if nothing else. Great trailer.
Yeah, it was a good trailer, yeah.
That's the kind of trailer I was hoping we'd see more of at Comic-Con. A lot of Comic-Con trailers this year weren't that great, weren't that showy. And this one was really kind of good. Really seemed like it was made for fans. Like I said, humor put in, like lots of different things. And Fear the Walking Dead might be the only trailer that really did that really felt like a Comic-Con trailer. But that's it on the Walking Dead front. Next up, we have the controversial story that came up, which is that they're going to be doing a reboot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, before I go any further, I want to clarify that the new showrunner for this series has come out and said, no, this is not actually a reboot. It's taking place like after. It's in the same world and it's later.
Well, if it's in universe and it's not a retelling.
Yeah.
Of what we already saw, then
that's what she's saying.
It could be good, it could be fine. Yeah, if it's a straight reboot, if they're just like redoing Buffy from scratch, then no. Like I totally don't want that.
What caused controversy is that it was announced that the new showrunner, Monica Usa-Breen, who she was the showrunner for Midnight Texas, but besides that, she worked in the writers' room on shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Lost, Alias, so she's got definite legit cred.
Okay, she's got cred, so like they didn't hire somebody from Grey's Anatomy or something.
I mean, Midnight Texas isn't great, and that's the one show running.
I'm not even sure what that show is, to be honest.
It's based on a book by the same author who did True Blood.
Okay.
So, and it's kind of got like a vibe like that. It's okay, but it's not like a great show. But, and that's the only thing she's actually done as a showrunner, but she has written on, like I said, on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Lost, and Alias. And this was based on a book, so she was just adapting. So you have to kind of guess like, where is this going to be like? It's also important to note that Joss Whedon is going to be heavily involved in this as well. He's not running the show, but he's going to be producing it. And a lot of the original Buffy producers are back as well. Gail Berman, Joe Early, Frank Kuzai, and Kaz Kuzai, who actually worked on the original movie that, besides just the series, the original movie with like Luke Perry in it. And so he was involved even way back then, as was Joss, of course. But what caused a lot of controversy when this was first announced was not only the idea that it was first kind of like let out as a reboot. And that was the first thing people were like, oh, no, don't reboot this, which like has now been, that's been debunked. Like it's not actually a reboot. But then the other thing that kind of got people going, and this goes alongside it being a reboot, is that they said that they were going to do more inclusive casting with an African-American lead. And this, of course, is going to get people in a tizzy thinking like they're going to remake Buffy as a black girl.
Who cares?
Which, like, first off, isn't that big of a deal. It just means that,
how is this a big deal? Like,
there's gonna be people freaking out.
Well, yeah, I know there's gonna be people. There's always gonna be people freaking out over like stupid shit.
But I think just even the fact that it's a different character,
more
concerned, not Buffy, gives them less reason to freak out.
If it's I was just more.
This is a new character.
We were just gonna try and redo the same story, I don't see the issue if this is going to be its own thing. I don't see the issue. If it's set in the Buffy universe, because that universe is like the lore they built up. Yeah, they can do so much with it. So it's more exciting as its own thing than just trying to be the same exact show from the 90s, only updated for the 2018s or whatever. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's like nobody wants to see that.
That it's not going to be Buffy again, that it's going to be
like the first thing I thought of was like Charmed remake, which looks awful.
Hey, say anything about the Charmed remake, but remember, it still looks better than the original. Charmed was a remake of something that was already bad. Like Buffy was something that was good.
Yeah. But it's the closest thing I have to compare. I don't have it. There's no other real comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think now that, and you know, this wasn't at Comic-Con, this came out after Comic-Con, but now that we know this isn't a reboot, like, I actually have, like, some genuine interest about this, where before I was a little bit more concerned.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see when they finally drop a trailer, you know, when this is still early in development, we'll have to see, like, there's not much you can say about this.
Yeah, but that's, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Next up, Good Omens. They put up a little bit of a trailer kind of thing. It's not really a trailer, it's just kind of like talking to the actors and the creators. This is something we knew had been in development. It's based on the book written by Terry Pratchett, who wrote Discworld, as well as Neil Gaiman, who did, you know, American Gods, which also has its own show.
Yeah.
Terry Pratchett has since passed away.
Terry Pratchett, yeah, if you haven't read Discworld, go read those books. They're amazing. And, basically this is very much, this is a comedy. If you hadn't guessed from, like, who one of the co-writers is, this is very much a comedy about the apocalypse, the end of the world. So this is like, this is the book, this is basically about the Book of Revelations, about, you know, Satan and God and angels and the Antichrist.
Interesting here is that Neil Gaiman actually served as showrunner for this. He said he is not fond of the experience and he just wants to go back to writing.
Yeah,
it's a lot. Showrunning is a really busy, heavy job. It takes a lot of work, and so he's kind of like, yeah, I did it. I'm proud of what I did, but I'm done. So this is also like a one-off series. It's not like, you know, a season with more. It's a whole story.
This is fine because, like, the book was like a one-off. It wasn't like a series of books. So it's like how much story can you really mine from it? You know,
mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where, like, they make something into a TV. Like, they're making so many things into, like, a series, and sometimes, like, a concept comes out and I'll be like, that'd make a great movie, but I don't know how you're getting a series out of that. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not watching 5 seasons of, I don't know, I can't think of an example at the moment, but it's like 5 seasons of people surviving out in the wilderness or something. I don't know. It's like,
yeah, it's like that 72 hours where the guy's like got his arm trapped between 2 rocks.
Yeah. Let's
as a 5-season series.
Yeah, let's make that 5 seasons of this guy trapped in. It's like, no, like, just make it a movie. Jesus, you don't have enough material.
This is going to be a 1-season series for Amazon. The main members of the cast are Michael Sheen, who is playing Aziraphale, an angel. That actor was in Masters of Sex on Showtime, and David Tennant from Doctor Who and also Jessica Jones.
I like how you like emphasize David Tennant.
Yeah, he's playing Crowley, not the one from Supernatural, but a demon named Crowley. And it's about those two basically trying to sabotage the apocalypse.
John Hamm's playing the Archangel Michael.
Yeah,
I believe.
I think it's Michael or Gabriel. I'm not sure which one. He's playing an Archangel. I don't remember which one, but this series is basically about an angel and a demon working together to try to sabotage the apocalypse because they like the modern world and they don't want it to end.
They don't. Yeah, it should be good. Hopefully it should be good.
Yeah, it should be nice and funny. That's kind of what it was meant to be. And like I said, the most interesting thing here is Neil Gaiman and as a showrunner. It's going to be interesting to see how he does that, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Next up, we got a trailer for Iron Fist. Before we even start this, did you see they launched another trailer for Iron Fist? Cause like, I don't know if people know what's going on right now, but Comic-Con ends and then immediately after that, the TCAs begin. So like, Comic-Con may have ended, but like there's still tons of news and trailers and other stuff coming out. In the case of Iron Fist, like we just got this like date announcement, like small, really, really small teaser. And then we got another one that's a little bit bigger that just came out like
I just saw the one where he's fighting these dudes in alley and
that's a Comic-Con
they're ganging up on him and then he powers up his fist and he hits the ground and supposedly uses his shockwave to knock them all out, but it like ends right there. It's really basic, I guess, more to show off like we have actual fights this season. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, they have two new things this season that are like definitely important. One is they have a new showrunner.
Yes.
The new showrunner's name is Raven Metzner. He worked on Sleepy Hollow, Falling Skies, and then you start to get to the lesser stuff, Heroes Reborn and Elektra.
Those are still better than anything Scott Buck's put out. Like,
True.
I admit, I would rather watch Elektra than season 1 of Iron Fist.
But yeah, so he's had he's not necessarily a pick that evokes confidence, but after Scott Buck, I think a dog with its head stuck up its own ass is like evokes more confidence. So.
Like I think what put more confidence was like the stunt coordinator that they got.
Yes, that's the other big thing.
And I love the quote that he gave where he said like, "This is old school kung fu, like Bruce Lee." And I was like, wow, what a thought, you know, like in a show called Iron Fist that they would actually like have like old school style kung fu. Like, geez. Like,
well, their new stunt coordinator.
I can't believe
the stunt coordinator for another Marvel property. He was the stunt coordinator for the Black Panther movie.
Oh yeah, he was for the Black Panther movie. So this is going to be nice. But it's like my biggest complaint from season 1 was like, where's the kung fu? Why is like this is about a karate guy and there's barely any karate? Like,
really, my biggest complaint was, why are they still giving shows to Scott Buck?
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
So the lack of Scott Buck is the most confidence-inducing aspect of this whole series, this whole second season. But yeah, I mean, there just wasn't much. It was just a date announcement trailer, not much. They released another one that also didn't show much. It had a fight from Kunlun that showed Danny fighting against his friend that they ended up having a falling out in the first season, who ends up becoming the Iron Serpent. The two of them having a big fight in Kunlun. That was the other teaser that came out for the TCAs. But that wasn't Comic-Con, so. Next up, there's a trailer for The Gifted. So I went into The Gifted, the first season, kind of with mixed feelings. On one hand, it was Matt Nix who did Burn Notice, and I loved Burn Notice. So I was like, okay, this is a good pedigree going forward already. But then, you know, it's whenever they do a show that's like loosely connected to a bigger property with like a lot of characters that you don't really know that well, you know, there's always kind of like a bit of hesitance. Like, it's just like, is this just not going to feel like important or that interesting? As the series went on, as the season went on, The Gifted actually got pretty good. By the end, it really felt like X-Men. Like, it had really strong X-Men vibes. And there were elements of things like, you know, the Hellfire Club and references to like Magneto and other stuff going on that was making it kind of interesting. It's looking like season 2 is going to jump right off almost like an X-Men movie. Like, it's you have like powered bad guys and powered good guys, and they're like in direct clash with each other. So yeah, did you check out the trailer?
For The Gifted? No, not really.
It's pretty good. Did you watch any of the first season or?
Besides the pilot, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I mean, I think it gets better as it goes. It's a pretty decent show.
Okay, all right, cool.
Next up is Deadly Class. This is a new sci-fi series based on the comic book by Rick Remender. This show is produced by Anthony and Joe Russo, who did Infinity War and the last 2 Captain America movies as well. It stars Benedict Wong as kind of like the Albus Dumbledore of an assassin school. Benedict Wong from Doctor Strange. And did you notice in the trailer for this, Henry Rollins is in this too?
No, I didn't notice.
Yeah, you see him very briefly. It kind of like steps forward and you just see him. He looks like he's one of the teachers or something.
Nice.
That's nice, isn't it? You had this on your list. So are you more familiar with the comic book, or is it just like kind of what you saw in the trailer?
I'm not really. No, I'm not familiar with comic book. It just looked interesting. Looked like it could be something to watch, to talk about.
Did you know this takes place in the 80s?
Nope. Like I said, I know like little to nothing about it. I know like it's based on a comic book by Rick Remender, who has done a lot of like comic work in the past. That's about it. That's like, like the basic like premise that's like the length of my knowledge.
It's Rick Remender. You got the Russo brothers, Benedict Wong and Henry Rollins in it, playing like teaching kids how to be assassins. Yeah, it looks good. You know, this show would pair really well with the Magicians. You have like Hogwarts for Assassins and Hogwarts Grad School all back to back.
And then Hogwarts for Superheroes, although that's been done.
There's a few things like that. I'm actually listening to an audiobook that's actually like a really good Hogwarts for Superheroes kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's called
Superpowers. There was Sky High. There was My Hero Academia.
That's the anime. Yeah. I think of all those, Sky High is tiny. It's very short.
That was like one movie, like 10 years ago, right? So that was
My Hero Academia is like a lot of people like that. The anime, it's okay. I really like Superpowered, so that would actually make a good TV series.
Okay, so that's pretty good. So that's got your seal of approval.
Yeah,
nice.
that would make a good show. And the last TV show we have on here is The Orville. So you watched some of The Orville, right?
Or better than Star Trek Destiny. I watched a few episodes.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say it's better than Star Trek Destiny. I've only seen the first.
I'm just like seeing how
Discovery. You mean, not Destiny?
Oh yeah, Star Trek Discovery. Seeing how angry we can make people here.
I've only seen the first episode. I still only seen the first episode of Discovery.
They're very different shows, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like Discovery is trying to be like an updated version of Star Trek for the new millennium, while the Orville is a more nostalgic take on Star Trek. It wears its nostalgic and affection for classic Next Generation era.
Yeah, the Orville's like Next Generation fan fiction, but like really well done.
Really well done, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It wears its affection for Star Trek Next Generation on its sleeve.
Or you know how like some shows will do like novels that kind of take place in the universe of a TV show, and they release them, and they're officially part of the canon a lot of the times. I mean, Star Wars, of course, had them, but Star Trek had them too, and a lot of other shows and Supernatural, other ones have had those before, like books that are just kind of spin-off things. That's kind of what the Orville feels like. It feels like that for Next Generation, except like right as they were publishing it, they lost the rights to Star Trek, so they had to like change names of all the characters and stuff.
Oh,
that's what the Orville feels like. But it feels
to me like between the two shows, the Orville is the more interesting. I really don't like Discovery's whole thing of, we're set in the past again between this and this part. And it's like, oh god, let's move forward in the timeline, do something where you're wide open to do things and it's not going to affect the canon of what's been come before. Like, you can set shows after like Star Trek Voyager. Like, I don't know why they're avoiding that, but so Orville has the benefit of not having this issue where they're kind of like
uncharted.
Yeah, they're not stuck to a place where they're doing something and all of canon like is ruined, Yeah, it's Uncharted, exactly. So I think
not the video game Uncharted.
So
Nathan Drake in the Orville,
and I do like the more fun, upbeat tone of the Orville. Like I just think Star Trek Discovery is like way too serious. Yeah, I don't know. I watched the pilot on CBS Access, and I just wasn't too into it. So that's my preference.
Yeah, I mean, having only seen the pilot, they're very different. Like we were talking about, the Orville is Next Generation, like a remake of Next Generation, basically. Whereas Star Trek Discovery is like a new thing based on the kind of like the canon. I've heard a lot of people saying Discovery is actually really good as it goes on. I haven't seen past the pilot. That's the only episode that you can watch without CBS All Access. So that's the only one I've seen. But the Orville, I have seen all of the first season, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next season. And it's Star Trek Next Generation. I mean, there's not much else to say. It's Star Trek The Next Generation with a few like little jokes thrown in.
It's not a zany comedy like Seth MacFarlane's usual fare.
Yeah.
Like when this was announced and Seth MacFarlane was doing it, like people expected like Star Trek, like a live action Family Guy take on Star Trek, where like it was just like jokes and references like every minute, you know.
That's also kind of how they advertised it. So
yeah, that's how. Well, yeah, Fox. That's how Fox advertised it, like very deliberately, because they wanted to attract that audience to the show. So yeah, they kind of like advertised it that, and like I think it caught when people actually watched the show, it caught them off guard as to how like toned down the comedy is versus like what you would normally get from a Seth MacFarlane show. Mm-hmm. No, there isn't like it's not a gag a minute show.
Yeah, but that's that's the end of our Comic-Con TV discussion. Since Comic-Con does have a lot of other stuff, we decided that once we got through the TV stuff, we were going to talk about kind of the 5 big movies that were kind of really shown at Comic-Con.
Yes, 5.
No Marvel this year at Comic-Con, so as far as the movie side goes, so none of that is there to talk about.
There was like 2-3 movies max I cared about.
There were 5 kind of significant ones to talk about. So first up, we have 2 from DC, Shazam, which is kind of taking DC in the direction it should have always been in, I think. Like, it's always been weird that DC...
What's funny about...
Ones.
Yeah, I was like pleasantly surprised by the Shazam. I always thought like this movie was going to be bad, but like I saw it, I was very pleasantly surprised. Like how good it looked.
They're making big in the DC universe, basically.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah, exactly. It's basically Big, a superhero version of Big. It's great. It looks like they really did a good job with that. I think it helps that this wasn't like actually Warner Brothers that produced this. This was their subsidiary, New Line Cinema. Yeah.
So they got away from like all the annoying shit from the other DC properties.
Right. Yeah. It's
One thing I can say that I don't like about it, I don't like the costumes in the DC movies. They're just overdone. And in this one, the fake muscles look really bad.
The fake muscles. But it works. It actually works in the trailer. Like,
it's because it's more cartoony and kind of weird, and that makes it more acceptable.
It actually did not look that bad in the trailer. When I saw the actual trailer, like, it looked worse when they were like showing it off like outside of the movie, but I think it looked fine in the trailer. Like, I was like, okay, well, that doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like,
I still think it looks pretty bad, but the tone of the movie is much lighter, and that makes it more acceptable. Like,
yeah, the production company was New Line Cinema, and this was always developed. This was previously developed separately from what Warner Brothers was doing with DC Universe. So this was kind of like in development separately from Warner Brothers building like their DC cinematic universe.
It is going to tie into the other stuff, though.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I guess now it is going to tie into our stuff. Originally, it was like question, like people weren't sure. I don't think it was originally developed with that intention, but as DC started building their universe, coming out with movies, I guess the decision was made that this was going to tie in. But I think the reason this came out so different from the other movies is because this was essentially put into development and developed separately from the rest of that slate.
Yeah, they were trying to make it all serious.
Yeah, exactly.
What's interesting here also is that, like, he's not in the trailer, and we don't even know if he's going to be in this movie, or if he'll be in a sequel, or if he'll come in one of the other DC movies, but the kind of big villain of Shazam is Black Adam.
Yeah, and that's...
The Rock is
played by... It's interesting, because I thought he was going to be in this movie, because the first thing they announced, the very first announcement was that they announced The Rock was going to play Black Adam, and then it's like, cool, he's not in this movie. He's not in any announcement.
Something, like
he's not in this movie. Scene. He's not in any announced movie. Yeah. So I don't know why they announced that.
Yeah, that's DC for you. Nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of DC, what did you think of the Aquaman trailer?
it looked like Black Panther again. Like, it's the exact same plot. Like, he's the king of, like, this fort. He's a foreigner king of a foreign nation, like, that's super advanced, super developed, but secret and hidden. And then he's got to come back to that kingdom to save it and take his place as its rightful ruler and battle somebody who's challenging him for the right to... That's literally the plot of Black Panther, dude.
And at this time, it's being carried by Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
So, Jason Momoa is an interesting guy to watch, so that makes me want to watch the movie alone. I mean, it wasn't enough to make me want to watch Justice League. But,
right.
But it is enough to make me kind of want to watch Aquaman.
Right. So this is DC's Black Panther. Which
DC's Pacific Islander Panther.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting.
Pacific Islander Catfish.
It looked okay. It looked like a standard superhero summer movie. You know, it had like all the jokes. I don't know. I wasn't too impressed with the trailer. I thought, oh, you know, at least it's not like super dark and gritty, I guess, you know.
The underwater stuff looked okay. I thought that might get kind of annoying looking.
Yeah.
It looks okay. It doesn't look as bad as I was worried it would. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. Next movie that we saw a trailer for was Godzilla, King of Monsters, featuring Eleven from Stranger Things.
Oh my god, this movie looks so amazing. Like first of all, it was reassuring that we got a lot of Godzilla in this trailer, because the main complaint from the first movie was not enough Godzilla. Darn it. It was like, okay, well, this trailer, you got a real good look at Godzilla. You got like
a lot of kaiju in general. Yeah.
Rodan, like Mothra was in this trailer. Like, they really emphasized the idea that this is a world full of giant monsters.
Yeah.
And I think this could be great. I'm looking forward to it because the first movie wasn't bad. It wasn't, people complain about like the lack of Godzilla. Fine. But I enjoyed the first movie.
Yeah, I did too.
This looks like this could be a step up from that. So if that's the case, then I will really enjoy this movie.
So the next movie up was kind of a surprise to me. I guess it wasn't a surprise to people that watched Split, but I was a big fan of Unbreakable. I thought that was
Unbreakable is
last good movie.
Unbreakable is my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I think it was his last good one that I had seen.
No, I would agree with you. It was funny because it was his second film after like The Sixth Sense, right? So that was like, to say that was like his last movie, like,
yeah, he completely derailed after that.
He made two good movies, and he completely derailed after that. I would agree. Like some people like to take it further and say like Signs and The Village were great movies. I'm like Signs was okay.
I think The Village was a good trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he'd fallen so far off the map, and it was so uninteresting for his movies after that I just completely skipped on Split. And
me too. I skipped on Split too because that M. Night Shyamalan became toxic after a while. That name just became toxic because the movies were getting worse and worse. Like The Last Airbender, one of the worst movies ever made.
I don't know. Have you seen the Dragon Ball Z movie?
No, but then again, Dragon Ball Z didn't have the director of Unbreakable attached to it, so there's expectations set there.
If we had seen Split, we would have known that it was revealed by
it was actually the sequel to Unbreakable.
Yeah,
which is what I found out.
In that same universe.
Which is what I found out like separately from seeing the movie, and then actually hearing that made me want to go back and watch Split, and I actually haven't yet.
Same here. I'm gonna watch it before Glass comes out because if Split turns out to be good and I liked Unbreakable already, then I'm definitely gonna see.
Like I never thought they were gonna make a sequel to Unbreakable. I was not expecting that. And then like they released that movie, they made a sequel and I didn't know about it. Like they stealth released a sequel to Unbreakable and I'd been waiting for that. Like, come on, man, that's just mean.
But see, now you have a movie that's already out that all you have to do is like find a copy or find it streaming somewhere and watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
But Glass, for those who don't know, takes the character from Split, who's has split personalities, but it goes beyond just the personalities. Like he actually can manifest like physical traits that go beyond that are like impossible. That makes him kind of like a comic book character.
I had like an idea for like a superhero like that, but
It also has Mr. Glass, who the movie's named after, Samuel L. Jackson's character, who had the greatest turn, like when we found out that he was a villain at the end of Unbreakable.
Yeah, it was
amazing. And everything he had done. That was just such an amazing twist. And then, of course, Bruce Willis's character, who is kind of just like the main kind of superhero, good guy character of the whole franchise.
Yeah, he's the main, he's like the Superman, right? Because he's invincible, he's unbreakable. I wonder if we're gonna get good Bruce Willis, or I don't give a shit anymore Bruce Willis in this movie.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, he's working with M. Night, who he's really close with, so that makes me think he's gonna at least put in some more effort.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. He's back with M. Night, so.
Plus, if he just starts really slacking, like Samuel L. Jackson will probably just slap him upside the head.
Yeah. Totally.
He doesn't put up with that shit.
I'm excited. I didn't watch the trailer because I don't want like spoilers or anything, but like I'm just the fact that this is happening is exciting enough. Like,
yeah, I have to go back and watch Unbreakable, and I have to watch Split, and then make plans to watch Glass.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the last movie that we're talking about is Fantastic Beasts: The Crime of Grindelwald, or the sex crimes of Johnny Depp.
Like, people were calling for Johnny Depp to be fired. I'm not going to talk about all that crap.
We're not going to talk about the politics. That was just a quick joke.
But I want to stay up front. I am not a Harry Potter fan. I have not read a Harry Potter book. I have not watched a Harry Potter movie. I did watch Fantastic Beasts, and I loved it. It was great. It was fantastic.
You need to watch Harry Potter.
Yeah, I guess so.
I would heavily recommend the books over the movies. I think that the last movie, and it sounds like I'm just being like a book snob about it, but it's like the last movie they made some like weird changes, like just to kind of make it more cinematic, but kind of at the expense of the story, and it just really kind of annoyed me.
Oh, okay.
I was down for it all the way through to that, and then it got to that, and I was like, this is, what the fuck?
Well, they like do the annoying thing where I split the last book into 2 movies because like Warner Bros. Was afraid their franchise was ending, and so they wanted to drag it out. Yeah.
Well, this is kind of like the one that pioneered that. This is like the first one that really did that.
Right. Because Warner Bros. Ran into a situation where they ran out of books to adapt, and they didn't want to lose their money cow just yet.
I was actually thinking that they should have started splitting those books earlier than that, though, because those books got long. They started getting close to 1,000-page mark around like the 5th book, and those should have been split. Like that book should have been split because they rushed through a lot of that. Like they skipped a shitload of content from that book, and then in the last book, it's like I think it was a good idea to split it, but the problem was that they made the first half too slow, which I actually liked because I can enjoy a slow burn kind of thing, and then they made the second half too fast and then skipped a bunch of stuff, and it's like they should have been able to find a balance there, you know?
Yeah, right. They should have. Oh well.
But I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and I'm really looking forward to Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. So yeah, I should also note one last thing is that the trailer for the Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald definitely plays more into the kind of the Harry Potter aspect of it. There's scenes like in Hogwarts, like there's scenes very reminiscent of scenes from other Harry Potter books that are like taking place, but with like other students. And so yeah, it has a much more of a Harry Potter vibe to it than the first one did it. But that's the end of our show. We're just going to talk about what's coming up in the week ahead. So we're recording this late. I had some issues with power outages where I live that delayed us on our recording. But on Friday, July 27, 2018, Orange is the New Black came back to Netflix, and Welcome to the Family came to Netflix. And then on Monday, July 30th, 2018, A Very Secret Service is coming to Netflix. And on Tuesday, July 31st, 2018, Casual returns to Hulu. Terrace House returns to Netflix. And Making It debuts on NBC. Now, this is actually a crafting show. It's like a woodworking show or something, like a competition. But it's being hosted by Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman from Parks and Recreation. And if you know anything about that show or about just Nick Offerman in general, you know he's big into woodwork, and his character was too. So it's almost like they're playing on this aspect of his character from Parks and Rec to make like a crafting show. So I'm actually like, I wouldn't normally watch something like this, but just because of Nick Offerman and that aspect, I think I'm going to check it out.
Nice.
Wednesday, August 1st, 2018, The Sinner returns to USA. Alone Together returns to Freeform. And then on Friday, August 3rd, 2018, Animals returns to HBO. So that's what's coming up in the week ahead. Next week on the podcast, we are going to be talking about Castle Rock, the first 4 episodes. The first 3 are already out, and the 4th one comes out next Wednesday. So on Thursday, or Friday actually, we're going to be talking about those 4 episodes, those first 4 available, and then week to week after that, we're going to be talking about Castle Rock every week. You can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can reach Will. He is at Voxel Hero. You can check out our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, as well as our site, thetotalscreen.com. You can subscribe to the podcast through any major podcast client like iTunes or Pocket Cast. And the entire backlog of our podcast is available on our YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Good night.
Good night.
If you would like to reach out to us and make a comment, send an email to contact@thetotalscreen.com. Stay tuned to The Total Screen for the very best in genre television.